Chris Jones, the set designer for this out-of-this-world fallen spaceship. Can you tell me a little bit about the design process for this set?
Sure, yeah. Well, it was designed using a relatively common program called SketchUp. And what I did was I tried to figure out what would a design be. First, I had the image, the background image to work from. And so what I did was I used that as an inspiration for what would the cockpit of that wreck in the background look like. And I went more towards the grungy Star Wars reality rather than the perfect-looking Star Trek reality, and figured out what's sort of the minimum, because I didn't want to block the screen that much. So my challenge was figuring out what's the minimum amount of cockpit I can have so that it's believable that they actually survived the crash, and then but while not blocking much of the screen. So we kind of came up with this idea, and then in SketchUp you can plot camera points, and so what I was able to do is pre-visualize what the camera might do, and then it actually this ends up being very close to what that action, that movement is. And then it was just a matter of taking apart a lot of VCRs and DVD players and finding fiberglass bumpers on the side of the road, and just a lot of pure sculpture, a lot of just cutting things apart and putting things together. A lot of it happened right here in the studio with everybody sort of chipping in with ideas like, hey, how about we put this over here, and how about we do this? So it's been a really exciting sculptural process.
Well, you sound very resourceful. What other production and design skills did you use while making this?
Well, it kind of uses a little bit of everything, because there's scenic painting, a lot of scenic painting. There's a lot of foam carving. There's a lot of like Mars type rocks in the background that needed to be carved. There's a lot of like blast marks, like scenic work. There's the main thing, the real challenge with this was to create the idea and the look of like a futuristic look with a sort of lower budget. So the way to do that is through geometry and strange angles, like weird angles that you wouldn't normally see in everyday life. So that just meant a lot of very sort of careful, what we call stick building, where you're building something in place and cutting odd angles and adding it and looking at it and then building something over here and something over there, instead of going by a plan where everything is right angles and 45-degree angles. This was a much more organic process.
Like a forced perspective kind of thing?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, we're definitely playing with the perspective. Yeah,
that's super duper interesting. Now, what other projects have you worked on?
Oh, well, I've been doing this for about 30 years, so there have been quite a few. I do a lot with the Eagles. I do a lot of sets with those, like the new Kelly Green rollout that they had.
You made that.
I did the locker room set for that, like a 90s lot, which was really fun to prop out a locker room with like little 90s boom boxes and to see all the players come in and get so excited, like, is that a beeper? Like, they didn't even know they're so young, they didn't even know what the props were, but to see them get so excited about props was really, really cool. That doesn't happen very often. So I've done a lot of sets with the Eagles over the years. I've done a lot with Time Life. If you're ever awake at 3 a.m. and watching cable and you see some set that looks like a music museum meets talk show set, and then some older rockers come out and try to get you to buy a CD set, that would be those.
That would be you.
That would be me. Those are my sets. We do a lot for events. We do a lot. We did a giant boardwalk set in Central Park. We do a lot of different kinds of things, like whatever is interesting. Usually people come to me if they need something built that has curves or weird angles, things that don't fit the normal mold of building.
Yeah, so what would you say your favorite design aesthetic is?
Wow, that's a good question. Favorite design aesthetic? I really like Art Deco.
I was thinking that because you said the lines.
Yeah, Art Deco is an amazing time. It was like very ahead of its time. It was very futuristic and simple, yet it has character. I like Art Nouveau. That came like kind of right before that. Anything from like the 30s and 40s I love. This, we were kind of going with almost like a steampunk kind of aesthetic with this.
I definitely get that vibe. Yeah. Is there anything about this spaceship that we wouldn't know just by looking at it?
Oh, good question. Well, just that there are lots and lots of car parts involved with it, and actually, what looks like metal is old paneling that was turned. I used the back of the panel, the smooth back of the paneling, and so through the magic of paint and scenic work, it looks like metal.
Yeah, well, this is a very advanced, and it's crazy how you can make a whole world come to life with just one spaceship and that small stage. It looks so much bigger on camera.
Right, exactly, and that's really what we were going for, is to show the magic of filmmaking here, where we only worked on what the camera would see. Like if you look at the back of this, it just looks like paneling and pieces of wood. But I like that. I like the fact that the front is so much different than the back of it, and it's the theater of it. It's the theater of just creating something out of nothing.
Absolutely, we live for the drama.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for talking to me. You sound so passionate about the work you do, and it definitely shows.
I love this. Yeah, thank you.